we've had a look at the differences between monitoring, evaluation, and research, and now we're going to look at the similarities between all three. The first is that because they're all generating insights and there are standard approaches to gathering insights, they usually use the same kind of data collection methodologies and data collection tools. So if you want to generate quantitative information, regardless of if it's a research, it's a monitoring process, or an evaluation, you're going to be using either a survey, a structured observation, a poll, or a checklist. Those are standard approaches. Similarly, if you're going to be collecting qualitative information, you're going to be using qualitative approaches. So for instance, a focus group discussion, an in-depth interview, a key informant, or you're going to be using some ethnographic model or participatory approach. So it's usually similar. And because we're using these standard data collection processes, which have standard data analysis approaches, data analytical methods that are applied for research, monitoring, and evaluation are usually similar. But remember, that doesn't mean that research is the same thing as monitoring or the same thing as an evaluation. Again, because the insights that are drawn after the analysis all point to the generation of evidence, it's clear to say that all three are evidence generating approaches. And if you have really set up the design well, it will be difficult for people to refute the information that you're sharing and saying, oh, this is not good, this is not evidence. So all three have that capacity to generate good evidence. And because they're all generating evidence, they can be used for learning and improvement, because they can be used for good decision making. So we have some good quality information from a research, from a monitoring process, or from an evaluation, then we can say that, yes, this is what the generality of people want, or this is what generality of people need. You can use that to improve for people, improve life outcomes for people. Where improvements are not put in place, you find out that you keep repeating the same kind of programs. I'll give an instance: educational programs. We have a lot of work that has been done on improving the learning outcomes for children, and the intention of these programs is to overall improve life choices that children have and their life outcomes when they become older. But for the generality of the children that go through such programs, it's often not the case that they meet that proposed trajectory. And sometimes this is because improvements that have been identified as required to support those children are not in place. So there may be contextual factors outside the control of the project that have not been really worked on over time. So a project is really trying to do good work, but because that contextual factor has not been addressed, it's limited the achievement of the program. So we must, as male professionals, be pushing that the learnings that we bring and the improvements that are required for successful project implementation, for sustainable achievements of outcomes, must be followed. Something must be done. Those improvements must be put in place. Yeah, I was going off on a rant, so I'm bringing myself back. And the next way in which all three processes are similar is in the fact that they help us to be accountable and transparent. When you see a society that is not functional or that is not functioning at its optimum, it's usually because systems for monitoring, evaluation, and research are not taken seriously. And because it's evidence, it's information that we generate as male practitioners. So that information helps to keep people accountable. It's out there. It helps to keep people transparent. So all three processes generate information that keeps people accountable and keeps processes transparent. It's only when you don't want to be accountable or transparent that you suppress monitoring, evaluation, and research processes. And we must dissuade people from doing that and gently encourage them to be accountable for the resources that have been given to them to control and for the lives of people that they are managing. The next area in which all three processes are similar is with continuous improvement. because we're generating insights and learning, we're able to direct the colleagues that we work with, our program managers, our program implementation teams, and even wider stakeholders, the communities that we have worked in, or the government. We're able to direct them to learn better, use the insights we have generated to develop future iterations of a particular program, or to put in sustainability measures, or to go into another branch of programming to address another need or another gap that has been identified. So you can see clearly that continuous improvement is something that insights from research, monitoring, and evaluation help to achieve. Yeah, we've come to the end of lesson 1 now. We've looked at the differences that exist between monitoring, evaluation, and research as processes for generating insights. We've considered the purpose for these work activities. We've also considered the time frame for delivery, as well as the stakeholders that use the outputs when we're thinking of the differences. And for the similarities, we've looked at how, because they're all insight generating work processes, they usually use the same data collection methods and the same data analytics, as well as the generation of insights that can be used for as evidence and for informed decision making. Similarly, because we're generating insights, they provide learning for improvement and can help to really develop society. Yeah, I've come to the end of lesson 1 with you, and I hope it has not been too difficult. We've just tried to weave through the similarities and differences between the processes. We're now going to be going into lesson 2, where the focus will be on learning and how we can apply that to our work, support colleagues to adopt more of learning as they also do their work in program implementation or other interventions. We'll see you in lesson 2.